possibly want with him. He tucked the card into his pocket, telling himself he wouldn't go. He had promised Lily the science museum tomorrow. Besides, people from different worlds should stay in their lanes. He'd learned that lesson the hard way after his wife left him for her boss 5 years ago. The next morning, as he made pancakes shaped like dinosaurs for Ethan and checked Lily's inhaler supply, the business card seemed to burn in his wallet. "Dad, can Emma come with us to the museum?" Lily asked, scrolling through her phone. Marcus hesitated. "Not this time, Lil. I thought it could just be us today." The truth was, Emma's admission ticket would stretch his budget too thin. The constant calculations, the perpetual no to his children's simple requests, it wore him down more than any physical labor. After breakfast, his phone pinged with a text from his mother, "Can't watch the kids today after all. Doctor's appointment came up." Marcus closed his eyes briefly. Without his mother's help, he'd have to bring the children along to his afternoon landscaping job, something his employer had grudgingly allowed in emergencies but clearly disliked. Unless... He found himself looking at the business card again. Bluebird Cafe was only a block from the Science Museum. He could drop the kids off, meet this billionaire for whatever reason she wanted to see him, and pick them up after. Lily was responsible enough to watch her brother for an hour in a supervised public space. Change of plans, he told his children. "You'll get to explore the museum on your own for a bit while I have a quick meeting nearby." Lily's eyes lit up at the prospect of independence, while Ethan pumped his fist in victory. At 1:55 p.m., after settling his children at the museum with strict instructions to stay together and call if they needed anything, Marcus stood outside the Bluebird Cafe. He'd changed 3 times that morning, finally settling on his one decent pair of jeans and a blue button-down shirt that his mother had given him for Christmas. He almost turned away twice before finally pushing open the door. Elise Harrington sat at a corner table, dressed in casual elegance, dark jeans and a cream-colored blouse that probably cost more than his monthly grocery budget. Her hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, making her look younger than she had at the party. She spotted him and smiled, a genuine expression that transformed her face. "You came," she said as he approached. "I wasn't sure you would." Marcus sat down awkwardly. "I'm not sure why I'm here, to be honest." "Because you were curious," she replied, "and because I asked nicely." A server approached, and before Marcus could order the cheapest item on the menu, Elise said, "2 house specials and a plate of those amazing scones, please." When they were alone again, she leaned forward. "I should explain why I asked you here." "That would be helpful," Marcus said, trying to keep the nervousness from his voice. "I meet hundreds of people every week, business associates, politicians, celebrities, people who want something from me. It's rare that I encounter someone who sees me as a person rather than a balance sheet." She paused. "Last night, you looked at me and actually saw me. Do you know how unusual that is?" Marcus shifted uncomfortably. "I'm just a guy trying to make ends meet, Ms. Harrington." "Elise," she corrected again. "And that's exactly it. You're authentic in a way that's become foreign to me." She hesitated. "I'd like to get to know you better." The directness of her statement caught him off guard. "Why?" "Because life is short, and I'm tired of wasting time on meaningless connections." She smiled slightly. "Also, you have a nice smile when you're not trying to be invisible." Their food arrived, momentarily saving Marcus from having to respond. The house special turned out to be an elaborate sandwich that made his mouth water. As they ate, conversation flowed more easily than he expected. He found himself telling her about Lily's science fair project and Ethan's obsession with astronomy. She listened with genuine interest, asking questions that showed she was truly engaged. "What about their mother?" she asked eventually. Marcus tensed slightly. "She left 5 years ago. Decided family life wasn't for her after all." Elise nodded, not pushing for more details. Instead, she shared stories about growing up as the daughter of a factory worker, how she'd built her company from a dorm room idea to a global enterprise, and the loneliness that came with success. "People assume my life is perfect," she said, stirring her coffee. "They don't see the empty house I go home to, or how many holidays I've spent alone because relationships become transactional when you have money." "Is that why you're talking to me? Because I don't want anything from you?" Marcus asked. She looked at him directly. "Partly. But mostly because when you smile, it reaches your eyes. That's rarer than you might think." Marcus glanced at his watch and jumped slightly. "I'm sorry, I need to get back to my kids at the museum." "Of course," she said, but disappointment flickered across her face. As they stood to leave, she handed him another card. "My personal number. If you'd like to continue this conversation sometime." Marcus took it hesitantly. "I should be honest with you. My life is complicated. I work 3 jobs to keep us afloat. I don't have time for—" He trailed off, unsure what to call whatever this was. "I'm not asking for anything specific, Marcus. Just the chance to know you better." She paused. "No pressure, no expectations." He nodded, tucking the card away. "Thank you for lunch." Outside the cafe, they stood awkwardly for a moment before Elise surprised him by leaning forward and kissing his cheek. "I hope I hear from you," she said softly, then turned and walked toward a sleek car where a driver waited. Marcus stood frozen, his cheek tingling from the contact. What had just happened? And what was he supposed to do about it? The next few weeks passed in a blur of work and parental responsibilities. Marcus found himself taking out Elise's card in quiet moments, staring at the number, then putting it away again. What could possibly come of this? Their worlds were too different. Yet he couldn't stop thinking about her, not her wealth or status, but the sadness behind her smile, the way she'd listened to him talk about his children as if their lives mattered. One evening, after putting the kids to bed, he finally texted her, "The kids are asking about that science museum exhibit on renewable energy. Apparently, your company designed it. Thought you might like to know." Her response came almost immediately, "Did they enjoy it? I helped design that exhibit myself." And just like that, they began texting regularly. Nothing profound, just snippets of their days, small observations, occasional photos. She sent him pictures of sunsets from her office window, he sent her Ethan's drawing of the solar system. 3 weeks after their coffee meeting, she called him. "I have 2 tickets to the planetarium special night showing this Saturday," she said without preamble. "I thought Ethan might enjoy it." "Both kids, actually." Marcus hesitated. "That's very thoughtful, but—" "I'm not trying to buy your affection, Marcus," she said quietly. "I just thought it might be something special for them. And selfishly, I'd like to meet them." The planetarium show was magical. Ethan's face glowed with wonder as the universe expanded above them, and even Lily, trying so hard to be grown up these days, gasped at the beauty of distant galaxies. Elise sat between the children, answering Ethan's endless questions with patience and engaging Lily in conversation about the physics behind what they were seeing. Marcus watched them together, a strange ache in his chest. This brilliant, powerful woman was treating his children with genuine respect and interest. Not my foundation needs someone to run its community outreach programs. Someone who understands what families really need, who has compassion and practical experience. The position would be based wherever I am. Marcus stared at her. "Are you offering me a job?" "I'm offering you a career that values the skills you already have," she corrected. "Whether or not we stay together romantically, the offer stands. You're qualified, Marcus. More qualified than any MBA who's never had to stretch a dollar or navigate social services." The children were watching him closely. He felt the weight of their futures in his hands. "I need time to think," he said finally. Elise nodded. "Of course. This isn't a decision to rush. In the weeks that followed, Marcus did more than think, he researched. He looked into New Zealand's education system, which turned out to be excellent. He investigated the foundation position Elise had mentioned and found it was legitimate, with a salary that would allow his family financial stability for the first time. He also watched Elise with his children, how she never tried to replace their mother but created her own relationship with each of them. How she respected his authority as their father while offering perspectives he hadn't considered. One evening, as they walked along the riverfront after dinner, Marcus stopped and turned to her. "I've been afraid," he admitted. "Not just of the differences in our worlds, but of depending on someone again. After their mother left, I promised myself I'd never put the kids in a position to be abandoned again." Elise listened quietly. "But I realize now that by pushing you away, I'm teaching them the wrong lesson. I'm showing them to run from love because it might hurt, instead of being brave enough to try." He took her hands in his. "I want to try, Elise. All of us, together. New Zealand, the foundation job, everything." Her eyes filled with tears. "Are you sure?" "No," he said honestly, making her laugh. "I'm terrified. But sometimes the scariest decisions are the most important ones." 6 months later, Marcus stood on the deck of their house overlooking the New Zealand coastline, watching Lily and Ethan explore tide pools with Elise. His work with the foundation was the most fulfilling he'd ever done, using his first-hand experience with hardship to create programs that actually helped families like his former self. The media had indeed moved on to other stories, though occasionally articles appeared about billionaire Elise Harrington's unconventional family. They no longer bothered him. What did strangers' opinions matter compared to the joy he saw in his children's faces each day? Elise climbed back up to the deck, leaving the children to their discoveries. She slipped her arm around his waist. "Penny, for your thoughts?" she asked. "I was just thinking about that night at the party, when we first met," he said. "How different my life would be if I'd been assigned to a different section of the room." "I don't believe that," she said. "I think we were meant to find each other. Some things are just meant to be, even when they seem impossible." As the sun set over the ocean, Marcus reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From a struggling single dad to a man who had found not just love but purpose. From children who had known only limitation to a boy and girl who now saw possibilities stretching as far as the horizon. "You know," he said, turning to Elise, "when you asked me to kiss you that night by the fountain, I thought it was the most unexpected moment of my life." "And now?" she asked, her eyes reflecting the golden light. "Now I know it was just the beginning of the unexpected." He pulled her close. "And I wouldn't have it any other way." As they kissed, with the sound of their children's laughter carrying up from the beach, Marcus knew that some stories don't end with happily ever after. The best ones continue evolving, day by day, challenge by challenge, joy by joy. Their story wasn't about a billionaire and a single dad defying the odds. It was about two people who saw each other clearly and chose to build something beautiful together, regardless of what the world thought was possible. If you've been moved by Marcus and Elise's journey, remember that the most meaningful connections often come when we're brave enough to be vulnerable. Like this video if you believe in taking chances on love, and subscribe for more stories that remind us that our backgrounds don't define our futures, our courage does.